WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and WNST.net, our community and charity series, and all of our Baltimore Positive Mojo, brought to you by our friends at Cole Roofing and Gordian Energy, my pal Bill Cole, inspiring me. And I think it was about 2 years ago that I had the folks on from Believe Big. I attended an event that they had done, very interesting mistletoe clinical trials and therapy and cancer therapy with the Survivor local organization with Eva Leaf Page. And it's great to have Jackie Guidera on right now, another local person who's the director of operations for Believe Big. Your big event's coming up on April 4th. I have a good excuse for missing it. My wife and I will be over in Europe attending the wedding of the man who saved my wife's life. So we do believe big around here and believe in miracles. And I'm sure you know all the work we've done for the Bone Marrow Registry, and there goes my hero. But I know all of these organizations need help, and I know you guys are doing some great stuff at Believe Big. Good day to you, Jackie. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Well, tell us about April 4th and tell us about Believe Big. I spent a whole evening with you and your folks down at the Renaissance a couple years ago, so I'm a little bit educated on it, but I know you give the better elevator speech.
Yeah, actually, so Eva Leaf overcame cancer, and she was diagnosed in 2008 and overcame a stage 4 cancer, colorectal cancer, and founded Believe Big based on principles that are transferable to other people that helped her overcome her cancer. And so we were established in 2011. Our focus is to bridge that gap between conventional and complementary medicine to help people find hope, help, and healing.
Tell me about mistletoe, because I think you spent an evening trying to educate me. Some of it, when I think of mistletoe, I think of Christmas and kissing girls back in high school, but and standing under the mistletoe, you hear at Christmas. But mistletoe and mistletoe therapy is a big founding principle of what you do at Believe Big, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, that's because Eva Leaf used mistletoe in lieu of some conventional methods of chemo and radiation due to the fact that it wasn't going to help her overcome her cancer.
Well, my wife used had a small dose of radiation, but a lot of chemotherapy. And the residual effects of chemotherapy, my wife feels it every day. I mean, my wife has glass eye prosthetics because her eyes are dried out, all sorts of issues and fallout for her and all of her friends who battle cancer. So this is a different type of recovery on the backside as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is. It is. So it's like a natural form of chemotherapy. It's a plant-based mistletoe, like you kiss under mistletoe at the Christmas time. And it's a liquid extract of the mistletoe plant that is used as an alternative method for the treatment of cancer. It can be used in conjunction with chemo and radiation to help the side effects that people are experiencing from the chemo and radiation. But some people choose to go this route 100%. They decide that this is what they're going to do. But it's mostly used as a complementary or an alternative medicine therapy for cancer. And they've been using it in Europe and in Germany specifically for 100 years. This year,
Wow.
We're celebrating 100 years of mistletoe.
Well, I'll be over in Germany celebrating. How about that? The event is April the 4th. I want to give a shout out to my pal Gary Zipper. I've known Gary a long time. I know he's a big a benefactor and for all that you do. And so many folks give to Believe Big. And I'm just reading from the website. You can go to believebig.org to learn more about an evening of inspiration, information, and celebration. You're going to be the first to hear of the latest progress of mistletoe clinical trials over at Johns Hopkins and the Believe Big Institute of Health. Stories all night long. It's April the 4th. It's a big fundraiser. The reception begins at 6:15. The dinner starts at 7, and it's an evening of information, a little bit of fellowship as well. It's at the Renaissance downtown, which is in my neighborhood. Tell everybody what they can expect on April 4th here, Jackie.
So they're going to definitely expect to learn a lot, but they're also going to be entertained and they're going to be educated. And that's a big part of it is even if we're not dealing with cancer today, educating yourself on what would I do if I was diagnosed. So getting on the front end of that, or if you have family or friends that are diagnosed with cancer, being able to see what are some comprehensive approaches that we can do so that we don't have to experience the side effects that a lot of people have to, go through after they've done the traditional therapies. And we talk a lot about oncology nutrition. We talk about mistletoe therapy. But we also talk about, spiritual elements. It's a wholehearted treatment. So it really is something that people should take a look at.
Well, I'll say this. You talk about nutrition therapy, and I'm on the BelieveBig.org website right now. My wife's battled twice in 2014 and 15. She was neutropenic for large stretches of time. I found the nutrition at Hopkins to be horrible. If you see Redonda Miller, please let her know that she still owes me a phone call, anybody. But they brought my wife a packet of bouillon and dropped it in water and called that nutrition when my wife was dying at the hospital. I'm still revolted by it 5 years later. I know someone's over there tonight fighting for their life, and this is where the nutrition is. I'll tell you what, your website is really a heck of a resource here at BelieveBig.org, not only for what you guys do and what mistletoe therapy is, and I think it's a little more difficult to understand than just reading on a website, but the resources, the nutrition therapy, the webinars, the books. You have a community forum up there. You have questions for oncologists as well. That, cancer is one of those things when they sit you in the room and they say, you've got X, and in our case it was leukemia, and a leukemia that doctors didn't even understand because it was born of my wife's going to 9/11 in New York back at the turn of the century, that, we didn't have resources other than Hopkins to say these are the doctors that we're going to trust right here, right now. It wasn't something that we did any research on the front end. I think you're trying to give another point of view here for ways to battle cancer, correct? What was Eva Lisa's cancer?
Absolutely. So she had stage 4 colorectal cancer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, that in many cases can be a death sentence, correct? I mean, when they tell you that.
When they tell you that, I mean, her chance of survival past 4 or 5 years, if she had done the traditional or the conventional methods of chemo and radiation, she wouldn't be here today. But she chose to see Dr. Peter Hindenburger, who's one of our recommended naturopathic doctors right here in Baltimore. And he put her on mistletoe therapy subcutaneously, which, kind of like what you do when you go to, let's say you have diabetes and you give yourself shots. So they teach you how to inject mistletoe. And so she's been on mistletoe subcutaneously for over 11 years now, and she's doing very well. But she also did an alkaline-based diet and the power of prayer. And she has been cancer-free. Or what we like to say is an overcomer for over 11 years. And we hear so many stories. Hers is not the only story. We hear a lot of stories of people who develop this comprehensive approach to their treatment plan. It's individualized, it's personalized, and everybody needs to figure out what is their pathway forward for healing. And that's what we do. We provide the hope, the help, and the healing. So as you said, the resources that we provide, we also provide free patient advocacy. So a patient or a family member of a patient can contact us and we'll provide them free patient advocacy so they can ask away, free of cost, no charge to them. They can ask us, is this good for me? Is this good for my type of cancer? What are some other resources that you can provide us? So we really want to help as many people as possible to get on the front end of this and to help them face, fight, and overcome their cancer.
Well, I'll tell you what, April 4th, you're going to have a little celebration, information. I understand some comedy's going to be involved as well, and some great food down at the Renaissance. It's Believe Big's big annual event. It's April 4th at the Renaissance. You can find out all the information about all that they do and mistletoe therapy and the whole story of Eva Lise, who's been a visitor here as well, at BelieveBig.org. Am I leaving anything out, Jackie?
No, but our comedian on April 4th is going to be amazing, Jeff Allen. So we're pretty excited about having him as our comedian.
Well, I'll tell you what, I hope you guys have a great celebration. We're going to be across the pond thinking of you and throwing some mojo your way. And good luck with everything you guys are doing. Give Eva Lise my best. And big thanks to Kristen Dorn for all of her work, not only with us and with There Goes My Hero, but all that she does for you guys at Believe Big. Have a Believe Big kind of night on April 4th, all right? We wish you well.
Thank you so much, Nestor. We appreciate you.
You got it, Jackie Guidera. She is the Director of Operations at Believe Big. It is a nonprofit organization helping patients of any kind with any form of cancer. Learn more at BelieveBig.org. If you see Bill Cole, either one of them, the Bill Cole City Councilman, Bill Cole from the Preakness in Pimlico, we'll have him on next week. But Bill Cole at Cole Roofing, my dear pal, and Guardian Energy with the solar panels, bringing you the Community and Charity Series. He was the first one to say, hey, Ness, you shouldn't stick to sports. You're the guy that should be having politicians and all that cool stuff on. And all of a sudden, Baltimore Positive was born. How about that? Learn more at BaltimorePositive.com. Ted Venetoulis this week, Sheila Dixon, as well as Frank Kelly talking up the Fellowship of Christian Athletes event on Monday night out of Martins West with Hall of Famer Ed Reed. Nasty at WNST.net finds me Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, and always streaming live on our Facebook, as well as our YouTube WNSTV channel. I'm wearing my Keep the Preakness in Baltimore pin. We never stop talking Baltimore sports.